Today on Papa's Projects, I want to talk to you about some of the challenges that we came across when we were connecting this 12 kilowatt Growatt low frequency off-grid inverter up to our 3.5 and 4 ton main house air conditioners. One of the biggest obstacles was making sure that all of our inverter settings were correct. We ended up having to set, if you can look at this, our first setting on number 1, we had to put it on SBU. Second one, we have it 80 amps for our charging. We have it on UPS instead of appliance on 3. We have it for AGM because we have AGMs. And this is for if there's a fault, for it to automatically restart, I believe. Got it set at 240 volts, 60 hertz. One of the things that we had was when we were trying to set this up, we would have a fault and the inverter would shut down, and it reset it to 50 hertz, which it did start up the air conditioner, but there was a horrible vibration coming off of it. So whenever you have a fault, it'll sometimes reset your settings in here. Go back anytime you have a fault and check all of your settings to make sure that nothing has been changed when you go to retry it again. We have that set up as 30 amps for charging for the grid power. We really don't have a grid power hooked up to this right now. So this is our cutoff at 46. This is our float charge, 54. We have this set up as SNU so that it's solar priority and it'll use the battery or the grid at the same time. So this was changed when we had a fault code and it reverted back to one of the other ones. This is just having a something on. I can't remember what it is. Again, this is a bulk charging. This is the cutoff, 42 volts. It'll shut down on 42 volts. This is the absolute highest it wants to go, is 58.4 when it starts charging. And I'm not exactly sure which one that is. Some of these we're getting into here. I don't think we can program them. Anyways, we're back to normal. So when we did this to connect to our air conditioners, we ended up using a 10 gauge wire. And when we ran this over, if you can see down here, we have 2 10 gauge wires coming out of there. One goes to the 3.5 ton, one goes to the 4 ton. And this inverter, and then I also have the orange wires for the 120. The gray is for the 240, and there's barely enough room to get those wires in there. Eventually I'm going to run this into a panel box so I can distribute it better, but for the meantime I just have it connected that way. When we go to start this thing up, right now we're running our upstairs air conditioner, and we have 103 volts, 101 coming in on our panels right now, and we have 48 amps coming in from our panels to charge our battery bank. We have 2.33 kilowatts of watts coming in on our array. We're staying around 48.9, 49 volts right now. And it's just a little after 8 o'clock in the morning. And we actually do have 12,000 watts connected to this, but some of the stuff is in the shade right now. So whenever it's in the shade, I'm able to, I have these MC4 connectors. I can just disconnect those until later on in the day when the sun, so they're not dragging down the power. But on this, the battery, charging it, said 48 amps coming, oops, we're going the wrong way. Like I said, this setting when it came in here after I had a fault was changed to 50 hertz, and there's where the 60 hertz is on this to show you that. There's our 240 volts, and right now we're running at 19% load on this, 2.2 kilowatts to run that. It does not show us, I thought it was showing the amps, and I was looking at what the charging amps coming in. So basically I have to take and figure out how many amps I'm using on this. So if you look, it's 240 volts, 2.4 kilowatts. That's about 10 amps that we're using to run this right now. But it's pretty mild outside. I think it's only like 72, 73 degrees outside. But if I can, now if I did not have this air conditioning running, this would be charging my batteries at around 56 volts with the amount of amps I have coming in. So having that on there, and that's not bad. That'll just keep increasing. It'll stay at 48.9, 49 volts, and over the next half hour, it'll get up to 54, 55 volts as more panels are drawn into the sun, as that sun rises. The one thing that I said I really had a problem with this, I really like it except for the where you connect the wires. It's really, I mean, to put two 10 gauge and a 12 gauge wire in there in one leg is really hard to do. So I would suggest you run an external panel to run out to put breakers in it. That's what I'm going to do is over the next week or two, I'm going to try and connect a external panel so I can run all this. And I did take the panels off of these two right over here in order to use on that one to get my 48 panels connected to that. But what I'm doing here is I'm able to use this one right here. It's in full sun. It has 30 panels on it. This has 40. This only has 12 panels on it. And I believe this one has 8 panels on it. And that uses up my 95 panels. This one right now, I only have 12 panels on this. Charging my battery bank, it's at 52.5, and I'm using 921 watts to run a mini split inside. I'm also running a mini split on this one, and I'm actually charging the battery bank on this. If you look on here, the battery bank is fully charged on that, fully charged on that one, and over here, just topping it off. So those two inverters show the battery bank's full, and this one over here, which is actually connected to my grid, but I'm actually using my MPP inverter, this pure sine wave, to charge that battery bank over there that I used all night long. It's almost completely charged up, and I just started charging that like 2 hours ago. So I think it was 25.2 on a 24 volt system, that it was at 25.2 volts when I got up this morning and looked at it. And then I moved everything back over once he started charging. Now see, this one's up to 49.1. So that air conditioner upstairs is set at 67 degrees. It was 75 when we got up this morning. So yesterday it was 101 degrees. We ran our air conditioner from 7 a.m. to 5:30, quarter to 6, turned it off, and none of our air conditioners kicked on at all last night. Even though when I turned it off, it was still like 98 degrees outside. It's super cool, the upstairs, and I have the mini splits. One of them running downstairs. Super cooled the house so much that my main air conditioners, when I switched them over to the grid power, they never kicked on at all last night. So in the middle of the summer, getting into June, I'm gonna have to, the air conditioner will kick on a little bit at night. But this 12 kilowatt low frequency off-grid inverter is working fabulous. I had both the 3.5 ton up and running, and it started the 4 ton, no problem. And I was running, I think between the two of them, it was like 5,500 watts at 240 volts. So it was 20 some amps that I was using between those two. And this thing is just absolutely a beast. It'll handle loads. I mean, 2 main house air conditioners running at the same time and starting up. But now, one of the things that I had to do when I went to go start both of them, I was having a problem starting them up. So I put the fuse disconnect back into the grid power, started it up, ran it for 15 minutes. And then when I went and moved my fuse pole over to my solar only, when I went to go start up, it started up fine. And I did that on the 3.5 ton and the 4 ton. So if you're having a problem starting this thing up, your air conditioner, you might want to try doing that. Put it on the grid, start it up, run it for 10 or 15 minutes. And then after that, when I first did that, over a week ago, I didn't have to go back and do that anymore. I don't know if the capacitors, the dual capacitors start the fan and the compressor just wasn't storing enough voltage in there, because I didn't have the power on in these things. I don't use them. I was using my mini splits. So I turned my air conditioners off. So that could have been one of the problems. But I'm not sure how long those capacitors will hold that voltage in there. And like I said, I'm a DIY guy. I'm not an electrician. So if I get some of this stuff wrong a little bit, please forgive me. I'm just trying to share some of the experience that I had trying to get this stuff running. But this is absolutely running perfectly right now. So even yesterday, I was running my 3.5 ton and 4 ton off of this Growatt. And then I was charging this battery bank while I was running 2 mini splits off of it. Actually, I was running my pool pump at high, and I was running the pool heater. Consider those same usage as mini split. But because I took the solar panels off of this and put it on the Growatt, I only had 8 panels connected. So I was using the grid, this right here, when I plug it into the grid, I was using that off of this at 40 amps charging of my battery bank over here while I was running 2.3 kilowatts between the pool pump and the pool heater. So this thing had enough to run both of those and also keep that going and charging the battery bank at full. And then while I was doing that, like I said, this showed full battery, this showed a full battery, wasn't charging it, and it was like this, where This was just topping off the battery bank. So, and this, I'm very impressed with it. So I'm going to hold on to this one. I'm going to keep this one and keep that one because I have 23,750 watts and 250 watt used panels. And between those three, I can split that. And then these will be coming off the wall down the road, and those will be going somewhere else. I'll be doing something else with those. So I will have plenty of room to move some of this stuff over and put in a centralized electrical box to run down to my battery bank. And all those batteries over there will be moving over to this. I am looking at, now that I can run this, I am looking at getting a 48 volt, 6 kilowatt hour battery bank for this that's lithium ion phosphate. And then I can put my battery bank of my AGMs over on these. I have 4 sets of 4 batteries where I could have 4 48 volt battery banks on that. So I could put 2 on this one and take those 2 and put them onto this one. This thing's actually running pretty good now. I only have 12 panels hooked up to this. I can connect 24 panels on this. And the nice thing about this is you run those 6 in series. So you have 6 in series, 6 in series, you parallel those together. And then you have the other leg, because it's got 2 MPPT charge controllers on it. You can see I only have 1 leg hooked up on that one array. And same thing on the other one, 6 in series, 6 in series, parallel those together, and then you only have, for 12 panels, you only have 2 wires running into this. And then you would have the other 12 panels, the wires running into right there. And that'd be 24 panels on this thing. So it likes to have either 3 or 6 panels connected. It gives you errors if you try to do anything. If you try to go to 2 or 4 or 5 or 7, it doesn't like it. 3 or 6, they show you that in the instructions. But I hope this helps you, that if you're going to buy one of these things. Now, I was looking at buying the 6 kilowatt to be able to start one of my air conditioners, and probably with 12,000 watts in panels, I can actually go up to 14 or 16,000 watts is what they told me when I bought this. So I could have 7,000 or 8,000 watts on each leg of the MPP, each array. And when I was going to buy that 6,000 watt low frequency inverter, that would have definitely started up those air conditioners, but I don't know if I would have had enough to where I would have been able to run both of them at the same time, because they tell you not to max it out. It'll greatly reduce the life of these inverters. The only benefit is you can buy spare boards from the place where I got this from, Signature Solar. They do sell, there's 2 boards that they sell that you can replace on this if something blows on one of those 2 boards. So you can fix this out in the field if you have this out in the sticks running a pump or cabin or whatever. It's made to be able to be fixed and replace those boards if you blow something on. Anyways, we are going to enjoy the day of having our house cool down. Now, we live in Arizona. When it's 100, 110, 115 out, most people will keep their house at 80 degrees during the day and maybe 70 at night, and you still have a $500 to $600 electric bill at the end of the month. Now with this thing, we're keeping our garage at 65 to 70 degrees, which is a 3-car tandem. We're keeping our upstairs where rooms are chilled down to 62 to 64 degrees by the end of the day at 5:30, and the downstairs is 67, 68 degrees. And then the house is so chilled, we never turn our air conditioner, and the air conditioner never goes on. It's set at 76 degrees, but it just never fires up and goes on overnight. It just never gets that hot in the house. Hope this helps. And I know on this, the only other thing I wanted to say was, it was like close to 100-foot run on this wire, this 10 gauge wire that I ran here. Not sure if you can see that or not on there. Trying to see. There it is. Oops. See if you can see on there. It says AWG 10 with a ground. So I ran 4 dedicated lines over there. So I have 4 independent lines of this stuff going from my west side of the house to the other side, and they're a 100-foot run, and this thing's not having a problem on that length of wire starting up the 3.5 ton and then the 4 ton when that goes to fire up. It'll still start both of those, and that's just connected with 4 AGM batteries for a 48-volt battery bank and the 48 250-watt used poly panels connected to be able to start those up. And with those both running, I was staying around 52 volts on my 48-volt battery bank. Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. And we hope you have a truly wonderful and very blessed day. And we hope this helps you to start your off-grid project. We're looking forward to having a $600 to $800 electric bill this year for our grid power. Would have been 10 times that, close to $6,000 for the amount of electricity that we use in a year. So we are really looking forward to getting our electric bill every month and see how low it is. Have a great day. See you soon.